Defense Minister says the nation is bleeding over recent attacks. He explains efforts of security agencies in arresting the rising spate of insecurity in the nation. And the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, blames the federal government for the continuing attacks and state of insecurity in the country as he insists the bandits should be name tagged as terrorists and proscribed immediately. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloe. Today, a notable figure in Nigeria's politics, a former spokesperson of the socio-political group Afenifere, Mr. Yinka Odumakin, has been laid to rest today in Lagos. Prominent Nigerians today trooped to Lagos to attend the burial rites. Mr. Odumakin died early this month in Lagos. His wife, human rights campaigner Joy Odumakin, announced that her husband passed at the intensive care unit of the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUF, where he was being managed for respiratory issues due to complications from COVID-19, which he had recovered from about a week before then until he later passed. Mr. Yinka Odumakin has been described by many as bold, audacious, frank, and a truth teller. He spoke fearlessly for those who for the values that he believed in. He was a very prominent member of the 2014 confab. He pushed for restructuring of Nigeria, an agenda he fought fearlessly for until he breathed his last. If there was one person you can trust, that would be Yinka Odumakin. So a lot of people who knew him said, here at Channels Television, he was a friend of the house. When you call him, he could hardly refuse to answer your call. He will hardly fail you. He finds it difficult to turn you down. He's a reliable person. He will be sorely missed. And we join the rest of his friends, well-wishers, and family to bid him a final bye-bye. Sadly so, but may his gentle soul rest in peace. Before we move ahead on the program tonight, we have some stories for you on our political roundup.
The Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Mr. Clement Agba, has been reacting to claims in some quarters that the federal government has received over $5.6 billion as donations to address the challenge of COVID-19 in the country. He explains that government intervention in tackling the pandemic, which resulted in low oil and non-oil receipt, is yielding investment in the nation's health sector.
Needed to look for funds to ensure that we augment the budget in order to ensure that we meet up with stimulating the economy. So it's not correct that Nigeria had a donation of 5.6 billion.
The House of Representatives is to investigate the incessant jailbreaks in the country. The lawmakers are worried that the jailbreaks will only continue to fuel the insecurity in the country. The matter was raised as a motion of urgent public importance by Representative Chudi Moma, who expressed concern about the security structures at the prisons.
Cognizant that occurrence of jailbreaks are mostly consequential effects of poor prison management and the situation that best describes the Nigerian correctional facilities.
The governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, has appealed to the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria to end their strike for governors to perfect implementation plan of their demands for financial autonomy. He made the call when the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association, Ogun State branch, paid him a courtesy visit at the State Executive Chamber to express their solidarity with the striking Judicial Staff Union of Nigeria.
The matter of alleged money printout by the central bank is still generating controversies. Today, after the NEC meeting, the federal government reinstated this and said no amount whatsoever was printed to shore up allocations to the states for the month of March. This was a position taken at the end of the National Economic Council meeting after clarifications were made by the Nigerian Governors Forum, the Minister of Finance and the Central Bank Governor on the alleged printout of 60 billion naira to shore up state allocations, which is being a topic of debate across the country in recent days. The senior special assistant to the Vice President, Odumakin, told journalists after the virtual closed-door National Economic Council meeting.
There was no 60 billion CBN money printed for March FAC. Haven't had presentations on the controversy generated regarding insinuations of alleged printing of 60 billion naira to augment MAC allocations. The Council affirmed that there is no truth whatsoever in the claim. Today's meeting revealed the controversy and heard from the Finance Minister, the Nigerian Governors Forum as represented by the Ekiti State Governor and the CBN Governor. Both the Minister and the CBN Governor stated categorically to the Council that the allegation of the printing of money to augment allocation is outrightly false. The NGF also supported the conclusion, and NEC affirmed same as the highest constitutional body tasked with economic affairs in the country.
Well, I told you earlier about the burial rights of Mr. Yinka Odumakin. The line instead was today, and it will be finally buried tomorrow. So let's begin tonight's conversation, and it's about the issues of security. The federal government seems to have eventually taken a position on how to combat the current security situation in the country. And the Minister of Defense has been speaking on the steps to be taken. He came out to say the nation is bleeding, although he mentioned the fact that they've embarked on a comprehensive research and finally adopted a methodology to ensure that tactically all political, ethnic, and religious enemies of the country are eliminated. Meanwhile, the President, Muhammadu Buhari, met with the governors of the northern states at the presidential villa where he reiterated his commitment to ensuring the safety of lives and return of peace to the region. Those in attendance at that meeting include the governors of Kaduna, Zamfara, Plateau, Sokoto, Katsina, and Nasarawa State. At the end of the meeting, the governors told State House correspondents that security remains the major priority of the president at this time, and that it formed the basis of their conversation and their await implementation of decisions taken. So tonight, we look at the spate of the attacks that we've seen in Kaduna, Zamfara, Niger State. It looks so much that the southeast region is also being bombarded by attacks on security formations across the country. So we're looking at some of these issues, but let's put things in perspective for you. You remember that 2 days ago or so, the governor of Kaduna State, Governor Nasir El-Rufai, said it's a unanimous decision of the governors that the bandits need to be cleared. Let me remind you of what he said. Take a listen to him.
What is needed now is to wipe out the bandits. We must go into this forest. Nobody living in that forest is innocent, and just kill them all. It is the only way to end this.
That was a position of Governor Nasir El-Rufai. The defense minister appears to differ from what the governor said. Let me allow you listen to what the defense minister said.
All bandits should be killed. I don't share that. With my little experience as a lawyer for 37 years, I think I know the rule of law. I know how decisions are taken. Everybody is innocent till he is found guilty. We'll try to administer justice to all of them. But where we catch them with weapons, somebody trying to kill you, what do? You will allow him to kill you before you make complaint? Madam, that area we will not compromise. Anybody who will pick using arms will deal with him. If he's fire one round, will fire artillery weapon level so that it can destroy the whole range, I mean the radius. Not only himself, even his farm should be exterminated.
So you heard the defense minister. It looks like they differ in thought on how to go and deal with the bandits. But there is another perspective that you need to listen to, and that is of the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, who says the federal government is encouraging what has been happening in the country because, take a listen to his reason.
The action and inaction of government is clearly demonstrating that they have adopted what these people are doing. As far as I'm concerned, Boko Haram, Fulani herdsmen, Iswa, ISIS, all of them are working towards the same goal in Nigeria. Let nobody deceive me. So that is it. And as long as Nigerians do not take this serious, they started as herdsmen. Then now they are called one bandit. But why are they not being declared terrorists despite all our previous pleading and appeals and begging?
So we're seeking solution. So tonight, I have on the program two very experienced gentlemen in the intelligence and in the policing sector. I have with me a retired assistant director at the DSS, Mr. Dennis Amakari is also a security consultant. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Good evening.
And from our Abuja studio is the popular Marvel Akpoyibo, a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, Mr. Marvel Akpoyibo. It's good to see you again. Two friends of the house. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight. Let's take one of these issues one after the other. The first one is what the governor of Kaduna State said, that, look, wipe them out. The defense minister said it differs in the approach. Which one do you think, from intelligence point of view, which aspect or which area or which angle of these styles do you think will work better for the situation that is dire right now?
I know that desperate situations need desperate answers, but the governor should also remember that we are operating under the rule of law. So if you wipe them out, how do you do that? You might either bomb the whole place up, and if you bomb the whole place up, then you are forgetting about the collateral damages. In fact, you're forgetting about the hostages that are taken who are with them, whom they could use as human shield. So I will go with the Minister of Defense, where we will try and get them or isolate them before you start to deal with them. So I think both of them are working towards the same thing. We want this solution solved.
So the governor also raised part of that soundbite that we did not hear is where the governor said, those who are in the forest, no normal human being except these criminals are the ones in the forest. Yeah, but so we've been trying to isolate them. Boko Haram are hiding in the forest. These bandits are hiding in the forest, and they are being harbored, and they are perpetrating this evil. They attack, and they run into the forest.
Yes, and because there are also kidnapped people in the forest with them. We shouldn't forget that.
So it's a difficult one.
It's difficult. But if we do proper surveillance, and then, of course, the tactical maneuver, which the security agencies know, we should be able to isolate and then attack. All
right. We just get started anyways. You can give us knowledge and benefit of your intelligence that you know when you were in service and that you have right now. Mr. Akpoyibo will also give us a sense of how difficult is it to police and the best way around these issues. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with my guests. We are in a difficult situation as a people because of the insecurity situation in the country, and so we are looking for solution. And the defense minister said today that the nation is bleeding. A lot of thought molders have given their thought on what we need to do now. So tonight, I've brought you experts in these areas to give us insight into the way to go. Mr. Marvel Akpoyibo, a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, is in our Abuja studio, and Mr. Dennis Amakri, a former Assistant Director at the DSS. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming in. Let me bring Mr. Akpoyibo into the conversation. Give us a sense of where we need to go. When the Defense Minister says the nation is bleeding, what can you read from that statement?
Well, that statement made by the Honorable Minister was a statement of fact. Indeed, the nation is bleeding, and everybody knows it. Crime and criminality in Nigeria have assumed a very complex, very worrisome dimension, and it's high time we call them by their true nomenclature. And until we do that, of course, having identified as bleeding somewhere, we must stop the bleeding so that the organism does not die. Nigeria is bleeding indeed. But what effort are we making to stop the bleeding? This decay did not start today. The security sector has been abandoned for too many decades. When I looked at what happened at the police stations and headquarters and all that, I just shook my head. What kind of security are we having in place there? Are they fenced? If they were fenced, what are the gadgets available? After the attack, what are the footages and all that? How armed are they? How trained are the policemen? There are decades of abandonment, and the government must rise up quickly and address this issue before every one of us is consumed. I think a time when we have to teach terrorists and hoodlums with kid gloves, times have come and gone. We must sit up now and overhaul the entire security architecture in Nigeria. Otherwise, all of us are endangered species, as we can all see now.
And the Benue State Governor, I'd like you to get your thought on what the Benue State Governor said before I allow Mr. Amakri to come in on that too, because I'd like to know what his thoughts are on that matter. He's blaming the federal government because he believes that the bandits should be proscribed. They should be named terrorists. What difference would that make if they are proscribed, just like the federal government proscribed IPOB?
I think it could not have been better stated. If an individual or a group of individuals that carried out a terrorist act, it is absurd to decorate those hoodlums with a name that colorful and flowery names. Call them by their real names. Let the whole world know that these are terrorists. Whoever goes to the police station to burn it down and all that is a terrorist. Whoever goes to kill people, raid communities. I was just reading papers today that 6 communities were attacked in Zamfara State. More than 45 people killed, so many people missing. They are terrorists. For God's sake, why would you call them terrorists? That's what they are. And until we call them their real names and deal with the situation decisively, we're just begging the issues. That's my position. That's my take on this matter.
Mr. Amakri, your thoughts on what Benue State Governor said?
I agree with him. A terrorist is a terrorist. Actually, when you come to define it, who is a bandit? A bandit is a ragtag thief, a gang of thieves that come out from the bush somewhere, terrorize people, kidnap people, kill people, rape people, and go away. It's the same thing that the terrorists do, because what the bandits are doing is the act of terrorism. It's act of terrorism, and it is the modus operandi of terrorists. And we believe strongly that I think there is an extension where the terrorists themselves, as they are in Sambisa Forest, are actually sending out these guys to go and look for funds, because they have to eat, they need money, they have to buy armaments, you know. So when
are you linking?
Yeah, I am linking them.
The Sambisa boys,
definitely,
the terrorists,
definitely, because
the Boko Haram, the ISWAP, with these bandits in the northwest.
Definitely.
So there's a linkage.
There is a linkage, because the modus operandi is the same, and then of course some people that have been arrested have actually confessed that they used to fight for Boko Haram. So if that is true, then we should know that actually some of them have, infiltrated into the country doing what they are doing.
Are they the same guys dealing or fomenting trouble in the southeast, attacking police formations?
I don't know yet, because I think some investigation is going on there, but I don't know whether those are the same kind of bandits, because the bandits or the terrorists, they're all terrorists. The ones doing it in the southeast are not following exactly the same MO with the ones that are operating in the northwest or northeast.
So let me ask you this. This is a tactical question.
Yeah.
So if you name someone a bandit and if you name it a terrorist, if you are an operative, in the manner at which you will attack such group or persons, will it be different?
No difference. No difference at all.
So why name them differently?
Well,
if you will deal with them in the same manner.
Yeah, it is not naming them. You see, the nomenclature is really not what is bothering me. What is bothering me is that we have played kids' gloves with these guys that are keeping the country very, very unstable. So we can call them thieves. We can call them armed robbers, highway robbers. But what they are doing to the country is what is most important, and we need to stop that.
Mr. Akpoibo, it's worrisome the manner in which things are going. These guys attack police, military formations, and they move. And yesterday we were having this conversation also. The amount of time spent in fomenting the trouble, killing people, attacking these communities, and they go on motorbikes. Some of the attacks, we have information that there are about 100 of them on motorbikes and moving. What comes to your mind, tactically speaking, when this is happening, and for us to be able to attack and arrest this situation, what must the security agencies do?
Well, what the security agencies must do, not one solution. It has to, the approach has to be very, very holistic. Number one, the security agencies need to be properly equipped. From all indications, I mean, you can see how vulnerable the police stations are. You can see how vulnerable those communities are. So if the security agencies are well equipped by the federal government, and the personnel well trained, well armed, and all that, of course they become less vulnerable. But so long as these institutions are vulnerable and they can attack with audacity and get away with it, it will continue. So the government has a role to play in this matter. Apart from that, the citizens of this country, we are also failing our constitutional responsibility. I know it is the primary responsibility of the government to ensure the security and safety of citizens, yes. But the members of the public, they owe a constitutional responsibility to assist lawful security agencies with information that will help them serve the members of the public better. But that is not happening today. It's not happening today. Before they set out on these their vicious and terrorist attacks, people see them, people know them, they condone them, they keep quiet. It's a failure on the part of the members of the public also. They seem to have forgotten their constitutional responsibility.